Hi all, welcome back to my channel and our kayaking adventures. On the fourth day of our summer Sea-Esta series, we decided to stay close to home. Our daughter wasn't feeling well and had opted to stay out of the day's adventure. Looking at the map, we decided that we'd go over to Haulover Canal and paddle around that area. It's usually a great spot to kayak, and we enjoy stopping by the Wild Ocean Market once we worked up an appetite. We were curious if the construction was complete at Bears Cove Boat Ramp, since we were considering a bioluminescent paddle one of the nights that we were here. The fee for using the Bears Cove Boat Ramp is $10. However, during this COVID pandemic, the fee is waived. If you wanted to save the $10, you could go north of the drawbridge and launch at the Northwest Haulover Canal access, which is where we launched last December during our seasonal adventure series. I did see that recently the drawbridge was closed for repairs, so depending on if that has been fixed, the other side may or may not be an option right now. But with a pandemic going on, there is no fee anyway. We launched a little after 10:30 a.m. The temperature was 79 degrees Fahrenheit. The current was pushing against us as we paddled toward the bridge. If you watched the last Haulover Canal video, you might remember the current was against us in the opposite direction. This must be due to the tides. I'll have to figure that out because you definitely get a workout kayaking against the current. We saw a few manatee right after we launched, but since the current was against us, we were unable to get a good look at them or aim our cameras their way. As we passed the bridge and entered the manatee viewing area, we did see some more manatee. We didn't get too close, and the manatee did not take any interest in us. I'm guessing with the large number of boat traffic in this area, they are very distrustful of any vessel, or they just wanted to be left alone that day. After observing the manatee from a distance, and hoping that perhaps they may get closer, we decided that it was time to paddle towards the Mosquito Lagoon and see if perhaps the dolphin were at play in their usual spot. As we vigorously paddled, we barely gained any ground. The current was almost too much to handle. I scanned ahead, and I didn't see any dorsal fins in the usual spot. We decided it was getting to be too much of a workout, and that it was time to head back the way we came. I thought perhaps we might go check out the islands that were on the west of the canal. We had never explored them before, and since the dolphin weren't at play and the manatee were keeping to themselves, today just might be the day to check out the islands. We would at least get to see the manatee on our return paddle. After we turned back toward the bridge, our paddles would only hit the water just to keep our bow on course. We let the current push us back. After a hard paddle upstream, it was relaxing to float our way back. As we neared the manatee viewing area, we paused to see if the manatee were ready to take interest in us, but they weren't. We saw their tails come up out of the water. Their snouts would surface as they come up for breath. It was still pretty cool to share the water with them. After a few minutes of manatee watching, we moved toward the islands. As we hit the open waters of the Indian River, you could see the islands out in the distance. We also spotted some dolphins surfacing, but they looked to have other plans and kept heading south, and we were a little too tired to go chasing after them. At one point, I had to stop and change the batteries in my camera. Miss Kayak 7 Seas kept paddling. She was eager to check out the islands. So eager, she missed the signs which indicated that the islands and the water surrounding the islands were off limits. I waved her down, pointed out the signs, and she promptly came back. These islands, it turned out, were off limits because they were part of the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge bird nesting area. Once we discovered this, we decided to turn around and head back toward the canal. It had already been a couple of hours, and we had worked up an appetite. On the return, the waters were a bit choppy, which I really like. It reminds me of the time in the Navy on the USS Dubuque and how the ocean would bounce the ship all around. I find it rather calming and fascinating when the waves splash over the bow of the kayak. Paddling back toward the canal was not as challenging as paddling up the current in the canal, but it was still a little tough. As I paddled, I just imagined how good that fish sandwich was going to taste once we made it to the World Ocean Market. If you are ever in Titusville, you should check them out. While they primarily sell fresh seafood to take home and cook, they have a small eatery in the Titusville location. Just as we were ready to enter the canal, we saw this beautiful ship also entering the canal. I imagine that ship cost more than my house. I guess if I owned it, I'd have to live in it. It certainly was a sight to see. I do wonder what it does look like on the inside. As this day's paddling adventure was coming to an end, I looked back. It was another great adventure. We saw manatee and dolphin from afar, almost trespassed in a restricted area, and got a great workout paddling the heavy currents within the canal. Since my daughter wasn't feeling well, it was a good thing she stayed at home. The current might have been a little rough for her. Don't worry though, she gets better and will join us on our next adventure. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you are new to my videos, join Team Kayak 7 Seas by subscribing to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be alerted when the next of the Sea-Esta series is uploaded. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you want to know more about Haulover Canal, check out the other Haulover Canal video from the Winter Seasonal series. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this place. I hope to see you out on the water someday.